When people have the option to choose between a paragraph or a list of bullets that contain the same information, 90% of people would choose the bullet list. But why is it that most of the information is on the internet, as well as most information in your personal knowledge management, are formatted that way, although you would prefer another one? I'm going to answer this question, and I'm going to show you the benefits of using bullets or outliners in this video. But first I want to explore why people write in paragraphs at all. Like why are we doing this? So paper used to be a scarce resource, right? And we would write in it, and we would try to use as much space as possible of the paper to make sure that like you are able to communicate something to another person, right? As like precisely as possible. You wanted to make sure that that person understood what you were saying. And if you would simply use bullet points, the likelihood of that person understanding you are smaller. They're simply smaller. That's just what it is. At the same time, right, the space on the paper is limited, and you would have like way more room that is not being used if you would format the bullet points. So just from a purely historical context, it absolutely makes sense to write in full sentences, right? And to not use bullet points. So it makes sense why it is the way it is. But in the next one, I'm going to tell you why this is not the same anymore and why things have changed quite a bit, but you maybe haven't. So most content actually looks like that. You have a title, you have multiple paragraphs, and if you're lucky, you actually have maybe a heading or maybe even multiple headings, right? But the problem with this is you still don't know. Maybe the heading gives something away, but you don't know what's in there. And if you compare this to the bullet point, you have the option to rather quickly see what's actually in the content, what's in there. And the reason why is this, because with every sentence, with every bullet, you have a new beginning and a new end, and your eye is way quicker at seeing the sentence, because it's like the three main aspects that are in the paragraph now are visually like way more appearing, and you just have the possibility to really quickly see readability, to see what is actually in there. And that's why people prefer the bullet points. This is the main thing. But hear me out. There's like way more. So the second one is, if you look at that article, it's quite long. It is quite long. But if you now have the bullet points, you don't have to use all the words. It's just way shorter. The same thing can be way shorter. So we have another thing that is called like speed of relevation, right? Speed of relevation. Like how quickly do you get to the value of the article? And it's just way quicker. And those are just two of the main values or main benefits that you can profit from. Okay, and now we come to the cool part where we have like three bullet structures, right? With three first level hierarchies that then become like the next three ones. And that's where we have like the first digital manipulation. We can actually like make those fold up, and that's like another value really, is we can choose the depth of detail. Compared to the paragraph, we can choose how much we want to see in what kind of depth really. So it's almost like we're zooming in to the level of detail. That's pretty much what we did from here to there. And of course, this can become even more detailed if we want. Like there can be even a higher depth, and we can choose what depth of detail we want to work with. And that's just one of the benefits of the digital realm now. We can manipulate the information. That's something we cannot do in a regular paragraph formatting. We cannot choose the level of depth. It's completely different. And all of a sudden, we have so much more helpful or unhelpful information depending on what we want to work with. And that's just another one again, the workability, right? We can begin choosing one of those and putting it somewhere else. We can begin to manipulate the information that we work with. And it's way easier to manipulate because we're working with micro ideas. Like, how do you manipulate a full paragraph? There's no option. You can either choose the same thing or you go home, right? The whole thing or you go home. But here, all of a sudden, you can choose that one idea and compare that one idea with another idea. And that's where the whole thing of actually improving your thinking comes in, where you actually change how you create, manipulate, but also really just how you process the information. And that's just so valuable. You won't even believe how different you can think and work if you work with an outliner or bullet structure compared to a paragraph. It's just insane. And the main one, and that's the one I want to talk about now at the end of this, is, for me, it's called speed of thought. And that is, I think, the main benefit. If I'm able to simply think out loud in a way where I just like add whatever I want, right? And I don't even have to think about like sentence structure, really. There's no other person in the room that I have to convey the idea to. I'm just giving away my own idea in the shortest possible form, the micro idea. Maybe a word might even be enough. And that's the cool thing. It's about it's about me, right? Who I create the content for here first, right? So the me already knows all the context. So a single word or a few words might be enough. And enabling this speed of thought just makes me process things to an extent where no paragraph or no writing by hand or no writing on the computer would ever go if I would try to formulate full sentences. I can still do that later on if I want to convey the information to another person. But the speed of thought is just insane if you think in bullets and if you work in bullets. And if you combine this with manipulation, where you then converge your ideas back into something of value, where you, of course, can then put all this into a paragraph again where you want to communicate it to other people, do so, please do so. But the beginning, the speed of thinking, right? That's something you cannot do in paragraphs, or at least not in the same value or in the same speed or in the same kind, really, because you don't have the manipulation. It's not possible in paragraphs. So those are the main benefits of why everybody should think in bullets, why everybody should use bullets and profit from them. And those are just a few. I'm going to create a second video on all this using a bulleted structure so you can see it. But I really wanted to convey that idea, and I hope I did it well. I see you in the next one.